So the reason I said Korach is there's a joke, there's a very famous joke that there was a darshan. Do you know what a darshan is? A darshan is a person that gives sermons at shul. Darshan, he gives a drasha. But he was very, very good. He only had one on Parshas Korach. So whenever they invited him to speak, he only had one. It didn't matter whether it's Bereshis, it didn't matter, he had Korach. So what he would do, he would get up, take out a handkerchief, and would wipe himself and he would drop it on the floor. It would fall, he goes, oh, look at that handkerchief, it fell just like Korach went down the, oh, it says we're talking about Korach. And then go. So, we are in Parshat Chukat, not Korach. Korach was last week. We start Parshat Chukat, or Chukat. So what happened in last week's Torah portion? Last week's Torah portion centered around a conflict that Korach created because, according to some, of what's happening in our Parsha. Okay? So we're going to have to learn this Parsha to see what exactly took place so that we have a better understanding of the rebellion. So the first verse begins very simply, that Hashem spoke to Moshe and Aaron, and he tells them like this, Zot chukat haTorah asher tziva Hashem le'emor. דבר אל בני ישראל ויקחו אליך פרה אדומה תמימה אשר אין בה מום אשר לא עלה עליה עול. Could somebody read the English so that everybody is on the same page?
Hashem spoke to Moses and Aaron, saying, This is the decree of the Torah which Hashem has commanded, saying, Speak to the children of Israel, and they shall take to you a completely red cow, which is without blemish, and upon which you take a yoke has not come.
I want to focus on what Rashi says. I'm going to read Rashi to you, and we're going to see how we can understand this Rashi and apply it to our own lives. Rashi says, לפי שהשטן ואומות העולם מונים את ישראל, לומר מה המצווה הזאת ומה הטעם יש בה. לפיכך כתב בה חוקה. גזרה היא מלפניי, אין לך רשות לערער עליה. So Rashi says, on this verse, the second verse, not the first verse, because the first verse there seems to be no problems, right? For God spoke to Moses and Aaron to say, right? So there's no issues here. Everything is nice and clear. But then comes Zot Chukat HaTorah. So on this, Rashi is going to ask, he's saying, what is this Chukat HaTorah? So he says, since Satan, what's Satan? Satan. Satan. And the nations of the world, Monim et Israel, right? They talk to Israel and always ask them, Ma ha-mitzvah hazot? What is this commandment of the red heifer? Para aduma. What is it? Lomar mitzvah mazot u'ma ha'tam yesh beze? Yesh ba? And what's the purpose of this? So therefore it says, Katav ba chukah. Chukah. What does chukah signify? So if we look at all of the commandments that God has given us, there is different ways of categorizing them. One of the ways that we've done that in the past is commandments that are prescriptive and prohibitive. That's one, banquet. There's another one. Commandments that are rational, sichliot. The term in Hebrew is mishpatim. Right? And then there are commandments that are chukim, that don't seem to have a rational basis. Okay? Banquet. There's another way of dividing the mitzvot between mitzvot that are time-bound and mitzvot that are not time-bound. Banquet. Okay, there's lots and lots of ways of looking at the 613 and divide them. So what's the issue with this red heifer that everybody questions? Why is Satan the one that is asking questions?
Satan's also.
That's then what the Midrash says. Okay, so where does the Midrash say? Okay, is a discussion for a different time.
Okay, Satan says right after.
And the Umot HaOlam, they say that why is it called, why is there this mitzvah? What's the reason for it? So the Torah says, Chukat. It is simply a decree before me, and you are not allowed to question my decree. That's what God says here. I made a commandment, this is what you have to do. Don't ask questions about it. Don't ask questions about it, Noah. As much as you want to ask questions, don't.
I won't ask questions about this mitzvah.
You want or you don't?
Not this one.
Okay.
I won't ask questions just
Good.
about that one.
Good. And any other else that is a chok. 'Cause-
Like, what's another example? Chok is one that doesn't have an explanation.
Correct. Doesn't have a tam.
Okay, what's a tom?
Tam is a reason.
Okay,
So
so
we
chok
can't
is
Shh. So there's a question of whether kashrut has or not. Korbanos, the Rambam says they're all chukim, all of the sacrifices.
actually
But he still says that even though they are a chok, we should try to figure out a time if we can. We should.
but this one you should not.
At least according to Rashi, al lo le'arher achareh. Now, what's the issue? Why do they count this one as opposed to any other thing? He says because, the Ramban says, because it is done outside the temple, and it's like other sacrifices that are done, and it appears to deal with issues that all people suffer. What does it mean? So the Parsha Para Aduma comes to purify a person who had contact with Tuma. What kind of Tuma?
Dead body.
Dead bodies. Dead bodies. And when did that enter the realm of humanity?
After the Eitz Hadas.
They ate the fruit of knowledge of good and evil. That's when death was brought into the world. That's what the Ramban says. If a person dies through divine kiss, that nishika, that is, there is a type of death. It's also discussed in the Gemara, in the Brachos. It's in also in the Chumash of Aaron and Moshe Rabbeinu, that they died from a kiss of God. Their soul left their body. So the Gemara says that's like pulling hair out of milk.
Hair?
Does it hurt? If you have a piece of hair in a glass of milk, does it hurt pulling the hair out?
Your hair that's attached to it. It's not like a loose hair.
A loose hair. What?
Well, because if it's a loose hair, it's not going to hurt. But if it's on you,
That's the point.
Got it.
It's just like this.
It's like you super glue it and yank
I'm
it out.
sorry. I just was trying.
But there
to
are
understand.
sometimes, the Gemara says in Brachot, sometimes it says that to pull the neshama out of a body is like pulling cotton off its plant. It's sort of dragged and there's pieces and it's...
It's messy.
So what we should do is the less attached you are to physicality, the easier the soul is going to come out. The more attached you are to physicality, the more difficult it is for the soul to get out.
I think it's like the person says, you know, like, or the person gets, you know, laser surgery to get his hair keep growing. He's still
What?
concerned. I don't know. Someone's told me. I don't know. It's like it's so attached to their body. It's like hard for the soul to pull away from that.
Yes.
Like surgery, you make yourself look young as long as you possibly can. Surgery. It's like the soul's attached to the body so much.
Correct.
It's harder to pull the soul away.
Correct. It doesn't want to leave.
Right.
And then when it finally leaves, it keeps going back to it.
Right, because it's so attached.
And then it's watching it, you know, worms climbing up, eating. That's my worm, right? Eating the flesh.
Yeah, I got that. Yeah.
Because that's what
It's
happens.
actually a good worm.
It is a very good worm. I've been practicing for years. So yeah, worms attack the body and eat the flesh. Gemara says there's a source that says that that feels like putting needles in flesh. Every bite, it's like needles.
The worms. feel like
Unbelievable.
that. To the soul. Okay.
Something to look forward to, huh, Nathan?
Well, as long as I'm super spiritual, it won't happen.
You hope so. Okay.
Which cryogenic musical?
Okay. So, Chukat Torah. This is something that is engraved, says the Ramban. It's engraved in the Torah. and it's also in the oral Torah. And this has to be, so why does it have to be a red heifer? Because red is always a sign of judgment, of din. Right? We know that Hashem has two ways of managing, running the universe. Through either mercy, or love, chesed, or din. Those are the two ways. Yes.
Is judgment
And
also justice?
Mishpat, yes.
Okay.
Yes. But the question is, how do we get from one to the other?
Well, clear. In this case, it's judgment.
It's din, right?
Okay.
It to symbolize din because it has to do with death. And that's a din. Because when somebody passes away, we have a blessing that we say, which is called tziduk hadin, right? We say God is dayan ha'emet, that God is the true judge, because that's ultimately it's a judgment. God says, "You come to me," din. So it's given to the Zgan Kohanim. It's not done by the chief Kohen. Okay, so let's just read some more and we'll see before we get to the Ramban.
This is in the Rashi?
No, this is in the Ramban.
Okay.
Ramban. You don't have it.
Okay.
Don't
I'll
worry.
just listen.
It's okay. But now we're going to be back in the Chumash Noah. So you can read the next verses,
Which is,
starting with verse 3.
you shall give it to Elazar the Kohen, he shall take it to the outside of the camp, and someone shall slaughter it in his presence.
So he's not the one slaughtering it. He's watching to make sure that it's done by somebody else. Why?
If you slaughter it, you become impure.
Right, I was just going to say
Correct.
that. But doesn't he touch it?
Not yet.
Okay.
Not yet. So the Zgan is simply watching that it's going to be done according to God's plan. And we continue. Okay? Keep going.
Elazar the Kohen shall take some of its blood with his forefinger and sprinkle some of its blood towards the tent of meetings 7 times.
Okay.
Which is your forefinger? Okay, this one. So you go like that 7 times.
Yep.
Okay.
Not I'm not a Kohen.
Well, I go like that 7
You're a
times.
Kohen?
Yeah.
Okay.
Someone shall burn the cow before his eyes.
Correct. He's
It's-
got to watch it.
All right, its hide and its flesh and its blood with its dung shall
Everything.
So he doesn't clean it. He
Correct.
Just,
No,
the way
the
it
whole
is, he burns
thing.
it. Okay.
Correct.
The Kohen shall take cedar wood, hyssop, and crimson thread, and he shall throw them into the burning of the cow.
Right. Okay. So that's the process of making what we would say the ashes, because you need the ashes. Okay? Now, just an interesting historical fact that the Ramban says to us that Elazar, Moshe Rabbeinu did the first red heifer. Moshe Rabbeinu,
He's not a Kohen though.
no, but at his period, his time, there was, not that he physically did it,
Okay.
but under his watch, they had one red heifer. The second one was at the time of Ezra.
How long?
Okay,
how
so
long-
the difference between Ezra, Moshe Rabbeinu, and Ezra. So Moshe Rabbeinu is approximately, let's put it at 1300 BCE. Okay, Ezra is about 515.
lasted that long.
That long. So it's almost, 600 years? 700 years?
Could you reuse ashes that you sprinkled? Could you like pick them up? And
Oh, well, you put them in water, so you just,
But like, couldn't you like find the little ashes? And
you couldn't find, no, I don't
How
think
did
so.
it last that long?
Because people didn't touch dead people.
Yeah, but somebody had to.
Yeah?
They got non-Jews to do it?
No. they
So
had
wait, the second, after that, then they had 7 from the time of Ezra.
What's happening?
7 cows.
You had one cow,
Yeah.
right? You sprinkle, and then what's the problem?
No, so you burn it, and all those ashes have to last what?
They last as long as they
700 years?
last.
700 years. Or
They
so?
lasted that long.
Right.
Then you had Ezra, and Ezra lasted till, they say, from Ezra Then it says Shimon HaTzadik, Yochanan HaGadol did 2 and 2 and the rest and so on. So once you get to the second temple, you have more done. You have Shimon HaTzadik that we go to his grave did 2. And then Yochanan Kohen Gadol did 2. Right? So those 2, 2, 2, and then one more.
Touching dead people more, there's no need for more.
Correct, there's more. And then we need the 7th one.
Why are we doing sacrifices, you said?
So remember
What?
in the beginning how we
Why
talked
are we doing
about,
sacrifices?
so when you touch a dead body, you're impure, and the way you become
In order to come to the temple, you need to be pure from touching dead people.
and they
You're
use
that's
the ashes.
And you
From a-
sprinkle water
On what?
on you from this, like this. You don't need much. And then you would be pure again.
Pure spiritual.
So back in the day, you're saying people didn't touch dead people as much as they're
Sure.
touching now?
Yeah?
I don't know if that's true. Look at our world.
Yeah.
We have a lot more people living and a lot more people dying. Someone's touching.
Today we consider everyone to be touched dead people.
And so what are we going to do? We're going to sprinkle everyone?
When the Mashiach comes,
Once the
they're going to
temple's
have
open?
red heifer, correct? We're going to do a red heifer.
Once, that's a sign that once there's a red heifer, we haven't
Yeah.
got it.
So Elazar, they take this cow out of, the Jewish people are living in a camp, right? They're in a camp within a camp within a camp. There are 3 camps. One where is the Mishkan, and the tabernacle. Then there's the camp of the Levim, and then the camp of Bnei Israel that are surrounding the camp. The cow has to be taken completely outside. That's where it's burnt. It's slaughtered, and then it's burnt. So here we see that the person, the Kohen in verse 7, has to launder his clothes and wash his body, and then he's going to be impure until the evening. And the person who burnt the cow, he's also impure. And the pure person who collected the ashes, okay? One person collected the ashes, and they put it in water, and he's also impure. Okay?
Burning the cow?
So, yes. So, this is what everyone sort of complains about. This is what Satan and Umot HaOlam have a problem with. How can that which makes something pure
Become impure.
make people impure? Why is it that the Kohen that is present there and the person who is burning the cow and the person that's collecting it, they become impure by touching this? But if you're sprinkling at me, I become pure. You see, this is why Rashi brought the Satan. What is Satan? Satan is the Yetzer Hara. The Yetzer Hara in each of us says about this mitzvah, this makes no sense. This is ridiculous. What are we doing? Taking a red cow? Have you ever seen a red cow? Have you ever seen a red cow?
Obviously not.
No.
Hey,
Impurity situation, right? So if you touch a dead body, now this is the body of a cow. This is not a body of a person, correct?
Correct. But animals also cause tumor.
So
But
all
not
of us
on the
are,
same level.
are
But it's a
all of us
lower
impure by
level.
the fact that we eat meat.
No.
Why? They're dead bodies.
Because they're slaughtered properly, right?
Question.
Well, the tuma, there's a different levels of tuma. And in slaughtering is a different level
Different to sacrifice.
than not only sacrifice, but also if you find a dead body, let's say a dead dog,
Okay.
it's different. If you have a sheretz, it's even like, let's say you have a dead mouse.
Okay.
Those are different. They're different levels of tuma. But let's not get into that. Let's keep going with this because we're getting into areas that I'm not ready to discuss just now. Okay, so now what do we have? So we're taking this cow. We collected the ashes. And it says like this. Look at verse 11. That will help you answer a few of your questions. Read verse 11.
Whoever touches the corpse of any human being shall be contaminated for 7 days.
7 days of a human being. Wait, let's keep going.
He shall purify himself with it on the 3rd day, and on the 7th day become pure. But if he will not purify himself on the 3rd day, then on the 7th day he will not become pure. With it means
The water.
the
Yeah, the
ash
water. Correct.
Which water?
the ashy water.
Red heifer.
Okay.
Ashes.
Okay, so that's with regard to 2 months met of a person. Let's keep going. Now verse 13.
Whoever touches the dead body of a human being who will have died and will not have purified himself, if he shall have contaminated the tabernacle of Hashem, that person shall be cut off from Israel, because the water of sprinkling has not been thrown upon him. He shall remain contaminated. His contamination is still upon him.
Correct. So the issue is, there's no issue in a sense of being tamei met. Like, it's not a problem. It's only a problem if you're going to the temple. If you're going to the temple, you have to be purified. If you're not going to the temple, it's okay. After the 7 days, you're okay. Yes?
Why is it redundant? Whoever touches the dead body of a human being who will have died.
Yeah.
Why does it say a dead body who will have died?
A human being who will have died.
Well, it's dead, so
But it says, well, it comes to the body of a human being who will have died. That means a person who died.
So he says, Rashi says, why does it say ben met b'nefesh? Because we're talking about nefesh adam. So that to exclude the nefesh behema. If you touch an animal, a behema, not all animals are behemoths. Only the ones, domesticated animals, things like that, camels, cows, donkeys. Those are ents tumatat tzricha. That is a different type of tuma. There is tuma, but you don't need the red heifer. And then he says benefesh. We're talking about the amount of blood, revi dam. That's something else. So if he enters the azara, enters the Beis Hamikdash, he is in big trouble. Okay,
I
now
have a quick question. When it says the human being who will have died, is this person that died also, he was impure from touching a dead body? Is that what it's trying to say?
no, I don't think so.
Okay, so,
I don't think so. I think it's straightforward.
well, it's, like I said, it says dead body of a human being. It doesn't have to say who will have died then. Why does it add that extra part? It's said that he's dead already.
I think no, it's giving a different case.
Okay, what is the case?
The first case is talking about when, in verse 11 and 12, it's talking about when somebody touched the body and got purified. And the case, verse 13, is talking about when a person was not purified.
Who will have died, finish the sentence, and will not have purified himself before dying.
It's focusing on that.
So the person dies that was impure.
No, it's not focused. No.
Talk
Yes.
about it later. Talk about it later.
Kol hanuga bemet. Whoever is touching the dead, right? The dead. So you might think that dead refers to any being. He says, no, in the nefesh adam asher yamut. No, it's only in the nefesh of the adam that will die.
What is that in English? Nefesh Adam is of a human being who will have died?
No, let me see. Sorry.
I don't know what Nefesh Adam means.
Whoever touches the dead body, right, of a human being who will have died and will not have purified himself, right? So whoever touches the dead body of a human being who will have died. So in English it sounds redundant, but in Hebrew it's not. Because kol hanuga bemet, right? So whoever touches the dead, okay, so what does it say? A human being, because not animals. And then it says, benefesh adam, in the soul of a man. Nefesh refers to the blood, specifically touching the blood of a person that is dying, right? So let's say he's stabbed and you're
And he's not
touching.
dead yet?
He's dying, or he will have died in the past. But the issue is touching a revit of a dam. So revis is a certain amount of blood that you've touched, and you haven't purified yourself. Then this is the case implies.